Every time I made a move, like a big move, and this is like a physical move in my life, I always thought that I was going to be leaving old stuff, old relationships, my old fears, my old doubts behind. This video is part of my Becoming Abroad series where I talk about the real truths behind moving abroad. You can check out the full playlist in the description below. So a little bit about me. I am an amputee. My right leg was amputated the week before my first birthday due to a birth defect that I was born with called tibial hemimelia. For 25 years of my life, I struggled with showing my leg, being honest about my leg, and I honestly covered it up. I did not want anybody to know, and I just wanted to be normal without the spectacle of, oh, she is a girl with one leg. When I was going from high school into college, I thought that I could reinvent myself, that I could fully embody wearing my leg proudly and not be so concerned with what other people may think of me. But me changing locations didn't change anything. It was almost like high school 2.0. And I still hid myself. I still covered up my leg. And I still lied about it. And the same thing happens when you're moving abroad. There may be something that you are wanting to remove yourself from or get away from in your old life and thinking that moving abroad is the answer. But moving abroad doesn't free you. It just removes all the distractions that took your attention away from what it is that you're really struggling with on the inside. And a lot of people can't deal with that silence. A lot of people can't deal with that kind of stillness. Moving abroad forces you to face yourself or pushes you to keep yourself distracted in new ways. Many of us think that we are thriving in our lives, but our bodies are stuck in survival mode. Your body's gonna be thinking that you're in a war zone. When you turn on the TV and you're watching politics and all the foolishness that's happening on there, that is jeopardizing your stability. That is jeopardizing your feeling of safety. That's jeopardizing your feel of security. What's happening to my stocks, my investments, my security? You have people out here that are afraid to truly fully be themselves because if they show up in the ways that make them happy, in the ways that make them fulfilled, they face potential backlash, harm. That is your safety. That's your security. For many of us, our bodies are conditioned to be and stay in survival mode. If you're struggling with anxiety, you're in survival mode. If you're struggling with depression, you are in survival mode. And when your body and your mind is conditioned to be in that mode, you moving to a new environment, you moving out of the country doesn't make that conditioning go away. You are still going to be in fear mode. The fear may shift, the direction of the thought may look different. You may make different excuses for it. Me moving to Korea, I was ready to just leave all of the static behind. And I'm thinking that I'm moving into this new version of me. But moving to Korea, especially in that first year, didn't make me feel free. It didn't make me feel like I am this new person. It actually made me feel a lot smaller. I was already hiding my leg up until then. But now there was no way I was going to be big, black, and one leg. There is no way I'm going to be wearing any kind of shorts out in here. It wasn't just my leg I was hiding now, but it was now parts of me, parts of my blackness, parts of me that made me big, that made me more fabulous than what was seemingly acceptable, because I was picking up on cues from my surrounding in Korea that I was a lot, that they don't do that here. Because I've had a life of really tuning into people's cues of, oh, what's acceptable and what's not, feeling that in Korea only validated me to hide myself even more that first year. These parts of the old me that trickle through my life are the parts of me that I had to learn in order to survive whatever environment I was in order to feel safe, in order to feel like I belonged. The coping, the shrinking, the doubting myself. While those things served me for a certain part of my life, if I didn't consciously work towards shifting them, they would continue traveling with me wherever I go. You know, I jumped in the pool a few days ago and I had this epiphany come to me. When I jumped into this pool, I made some major waves. Like, the water flew over the edges, like it made a huge trickle all the way down the pool. And I actually sat in the corner of the pool of my pool after I dove in, jumped in. And up to like 5 to 10 minutes after I jumped in, the waves in the pool were still going and still knocking me around. They would go travel out and they would travel back to me, and then I would feel the waves and travel out and then travel back through me, and I would feel the waves. And what connected for me in that moment was, Natalie, you are a big ball of positive, energetic light. You are a big ball of fabulosity. You are a big ball of personality. You are meant to step into places and make waves. Big waves that travel far beyond what you could ever see or imagine. And some of those waves will come back to you, and it will shock you because you didn't even realize your own power. And that for me has been my lesson. I spent most of my life trying to contain. I think of like that Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts, and they have that orb. I forgot what they're called, but they try to like connect it, try to condense it, and try to control it and withstand it into this little ball. But it is so big. It just explodes. That is what every single one of us are. Big balls of bright, energetic light that is meant to expand and be ourselves completely fully, because doing that creates waves across your family, across your friends, across random people that you run across when you're walking in the streets. You don't know whose life you are changing by just being yourself. When you move from one place to another, from one city to another, from one country to another, you go through grieving. And you may think that it's because you're grieving the place, or you're grieving the people that you miss in that place. But really, what we are grieving is ourselves. We grieve the versions of ourselves that we no longer are. Maybe you miss your friends and you miss your family and you wish you could be there, but that version is not you anymore. In order for you to be that version where you could be there with your family, it would mean that you would have to be okay with being back in that environment. Are you still that version of yourself or not? Maybe this new version of yourself doesn't want to feel like they have to silence themselves anymore. Maybe you want to live in your fullest expression, the fullest brightness of yourself. And you are recognizing that this environment where you think that you miss, this environment actually makes you feel like you need to shrink. There's a grieving of, I can't be that anymore. I miss what connections with people this version of me had. I miss the happiness and the support that this version of me felt like they had from those people. I miss having this home because it made me feel this way. But to have all of those things required me to be something different that I'm no longer willing to be. For me, I'm at a point in my life where every interaction that I want to have with people is going to be an energetically charged, uplifting conversation. And even if it's not an uplifting, positive conversation, it ends on a neutral or a positive note. The people I interact with need to have that capacity to be able to meet me. I can choose that I don't want to feel that anymore. I can choose that I don't want to live that anymore. And there's a grieving of not just the old self and what that old self provided you, but there's also this grieving of your future imagined self, where you wanted to be in life, who you thought you would become, what you thought you would have. And sometimes the gap in where you are and where you thought you would be, that is where grief lays. I've had to check myself, because You can be grieving and not even realizing that you're grieving your past self or even your imagined future self. You can be stuck in trying to connect yourself to those parts. Maybe you're reaching back trying to continue a relationship that's no longer meant for you. Maybe you are keeping yourself in a job that you know is no longer meant for you, but you've already disconnected. You're still reaching back, and you are in a way your own torturer because these threads are keeping you tethered there. When I say that true freedom requires you to release your old self, it means learning how to release and let go of the tether that connects the current version of you to that past. You will know that something is a string or a tether when it feels heavy to you, when it doesn't make you feel good anymore, when every time you interact with it or you go into the space, it drains you. When you're able to recognize your shift in joy, your shift in energy, your shift in peace, it is a sign that the shell that you are already in is starting to crack. You're starting to see the light. But because you are fearful, because you are worried about what somebody may think, maybe you think that if you let go of this thing or this person, that makes you a bad person or a bad sister or a bad daughter. You're holding on to something because you believe in what it means about you. Once you start really seeing those cracks and you start getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will get real serious about you. You will get real serious about your peace. You will get real serious about your joy. You'll get real serious about how it is that you want to feel on a regular basis. Accepting myself and how I present required me to release the tether that I need to be controlling everybody else's perception of me, that their perceptions of me matters more than my perception of myself. The first thing that I had to let go was trying to straighten my hair every morning before work in Korea. I looked like a fool and my hair was suffering damage. Why was I trying to force my hair into doing something that it wasn't even designed to do? And I was getting sick and tired of waking up so early. I was getting sick and tired of my hair being straight and then coming back home and it's poofy. I was getting sick and tired of wasting my time. So I stopped and I began to embrace my hair, my natural hair in Korea. Even how I dressed in Korea completely transformed because I thought that I was already insecure about my curvy body in the States. But then I moved to Korea, where everybody is like stick skinny and the bigger people wear basically tents as clothing. I don't know how it is now. I'm pretty sure maybe they have different styles now, but when I was there, they were wearing tents. I couldn't find a store that catered to me. And you know, Korea's already really conservative. Like they don't like to see skin like that. God forbid you're bigger, because for some reason when you're bigger, you really gotta like zip everything up. And for like the first year, maybe two, I wore clothes that I didn't like, but it fit within the culture of Korea. But I got tired of looking like somebody's mother. I got tired of looking at my reflection and not liking what I was seeing. I just started being truly honest with myself and said, I don't like this. I don't like these clothes. I don't like how I feel. I don't like this. So why do I keep doing it? Let me do something different. And so my fashion started changing. I started wearing things that I preferred to wear, whether or not it was conservative or not. I mean, I wasn't going like skimpy and like showing off, but I was wearing brighter colors. I was being adventurous in the patterns that I was wearing and how I was styling my hair. I was wearing braids now. And through those 5 years in Korea, I allowed myself to just be in the face of whatever people may think, in the face of whatever, you know, people would not agree with how I was wearing it, no matter the scoffs that I would get. I'm like, yes, I like this. Scoff all you want. I like this. Now, while I didn't wear clothes that showed my prosthetic leg living in Korea those 5 years, this journey set me up to fully embrace myself once I got to an environment where I did feel safe enough to do that. And when I came back to America in 2020, I wore the most amount of shorts I had ever worn in my entire life that year. And for the first time, I really got to experience what it felt to be free, to wear exactly what it is that my heart desired, to not sit in thinking and worrying about what other people thought about me, to just be. I got to truly experience what it felt like to no longer shrink. My body, my energy, my brightness. Moving abroad gave me the opportunity to meet the version of myself where I can truly say, yes, this is what I want. Yes, this is what I am excited about. But every day, I still have to choose to surrender that old version of myself, because they still pop up. They still knock at my door saying, hey, you really think you could do that? I'm still unlearning. I'm still becoming acquainted with different versions of perfectionism, shame, doubt, fears. When you see me living my life and you see the joy and the happiness that is exuding from me, it is not because I moved to another country. It is not because I just left home. It is because now I am less willing to betray myself for the sake of others. And that is where my happiness and my peace and my freedom of life stems from. So if you're thinking about moving abroad, just know that getting the plane ride is easy. Getting set up can be easy. The hard part is releasing the old versions of yourself that have kept you in survival mode. Your soul and your heart wouldn't be calling you towards something if it wasn't ready, and if deep down inside you didn't know that you could do it. Be willing to allow things to be hard. Be willing to learn something new. Be willing to let people go. Be willing to step away from environments that no longer serve you. Just be willing. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if it resonated with you. Tell me what connected for you in this video and put that in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Love y'all. Bye.